Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Camille, and today this video is going to be about why we should stop labeling people as toxic. If you want to hear more about this, keep watching. So we all know that the term toxic is a pretty commonly used term, like people use it left and right all the time. If you ask somebody why they broke up with somebody or why they're not friends with someone, a lot of times they'll say they're
toxic, he's toxic, she's toxic, whatever's toxic.
And we don't really understand why the term toxic has been so common lately, or what does it actually mean. So I kind of want to break that down in this video today. I looked up the definition of toxic, the word toxic, and it says poisonous, harmful, malicious, or very bad. I'm looking down here at my notes just in case you were wondering. So as far as people, I don't think that we can necessarily be poisonous, but harmful, yes, and malicious, yes, and very bad, it depends on the perspective. Because what some people see as very bad, other people see as fine. So I wanted to go a little bit deeper, and I looked up the definition of a toxic person. And this is where it got a little interesting. So it says a toxic person is constantly judgmental, obsessively needy, very negative, has destructive behavior, is self-absorbed or very selfish, is manipulative. So basically a person who likes to control or influence other people's behavior to get what they want, is dishonest or lies a lot, is highly insecure, is overly defensive, or has a victim mentality. So from that definition of a toxic person, basically, if we're gonna say that someone is toxic, then we should acknowledge the fact that from that definition, we all either are, have been, or will be toxic. So these new age spiritual terms or emotional terms like gaslighting, narcissism, or toxic, they seem to be labels that we put like a stereotype or just generally define them instead of explain why the relationship didn't go how we thought it would, or why we really weren't in agreement with that person, or to describe the qualities of that person. We just label that person as toxic, but really they're just portraying qualities that actually we all have. Even a narcissist, I don't know the definition of a narcissist, but I'm pretty sure if I looked it up, it would be something about someone who's very selfish or someone who always thinks they're right. And when you think about it, we've all been that way before. We've all been very selfish, or we've all thought that we were right. And it basically is to a point that a lot of times when we think we're right and when we think someone else is wrong, we don't want to talk to them. We don't want to be around them. We don't want any kind of association with people who we feel like disagree with us, or who we disagree with the way that they think or the way that they act or the way that they talk or whatever. Which is why I feel like the cancel culture was born or created. But that's another video for another time that I'm definitely going to make, because I feel like it's important. And I feel like we should stop doing this, because we're being very judgmental and we're putting labels on people to try to separate ourselves from them, when really we have all these qualities, or we've been all these qualities before. I also feel like we need to take more emotional responsibility for ourselves, because we'll be like, well, I don't like that person because they make me mad, or I don't fuck with them because they make me this or they make me that, or you just don't want to be around people because of how they act, which makes sense. That makes sense. But there's two things. So for one, I feel like most times when we have interactions with people and we don't like the way they're acting, they're mirroring something inside of us that we also do not like. And the second thing is, if we're always disassociating ourselves with people who don't always agree with us, or who we don't feel like are politically correct, and we won't have a conversation with them, we won't talk them, we won't hear them out, and we won't respect them, then we're basically being like the most judgmental that we can be, because we want people to accept us for who we are, but then we won't accept them for who they are. Or we don't want people to judge us, and we say stop being judgmental, but all the while we're being very judgmental. So like I said, people mirror things back to us, but also that's not a good way to handle life, because there's always going to be people who don't agree with you, people who don't see things from your perspective. You got to think about all these people that are in the world, like 7.6 billion people, and not everyone's going to see it your way. They've grown up in different households and had different parents or no parents or whatever the situation was. People come to their perspectives from their experience, and basically everyone is the way that they are for a reason. We want to cancel everybody, or we want to label everybody as this or that, and like we're just somehow better, or we're somehow separate from people. Like, that's not true, because we do and have some of the same behaviors. Like, we're the human race. But back to the mirroring thing, what I mean by this, an example would be like, well, the definition that I can think of a person who actually would probably be very toxic, or a toxic person, would be a person who is like emotionally or physically abusive. You would think like, well, there's no way that I'm mirroring, there's something in me that's mirroring something that's in them, because like I don't abuse people, or I don't emotionally or physically abuse people. But if you take a deeper look at it and ask, why does that person physically or emotionally abuse people, you would probably see that either one, that's the way that they've grown up and they see it as natural, or they've been around that behavior and they see it as natural, or two, they have issues with controlling their emotions or controlling themselves. So ask yourself, be honest, do I have issues with controlling my emotions or controlling myself? Because 9 times out of 10, the answer is yes, and they are reflecting that behavior inside of them back to you. Except for that, you guys are not the same, and I'm not trying to say that you guys are the same, because just because you may not have great control over your emotions doesn't mean that you go around verbally and mentally and physically abusing people. So that would be the difference between you two. But where you guys have a commonality would be both of you guys do not have good control over your emotions. You just express it in different ways. Somebody who is verbally or physically abusive, a lot of times they feel inferior on the inside, so they try to be superior on the outside. But as we know, trying to be superior on the outside or superior than anyone is impossible, because in reality, we're all the same. No one is superior than anyone else. No soul is better or greater than another soul. So that doesn't work. It's a way of expression, but it doesn't work. Overall, we need to stop being so judgmental and stop trying to separate ourselves from other people by labeling them, emotionally labeling them specifically. Ask, why is this person this way? Why are they doing this? And when you get down to the simple answer, ask yourself, do I do that? Do I feel that way too? Do I have some of that quality in me as well? Because a lot of times the answer is yes. Sometimes people's shit is just their shit, and sometimes we have similar shit that we're working through, that they're working through, that they're mirroring back to us. So in the beginning of the video, I said that I would talk a little bit more about astrology for those of you who are current with the astrological trends or into the zodiacs or anything like that. So I do feel like there's a correlation between when the North Node was in Cancer and all of this emotional labeling, because Cancer is the sign that rules emotion. And all of a sudden, people became way more aware of their feelings and their emotions, and they started using words like vibes and like I'm an empath or empathy or compassion, which are all emotions. Now the North Node is in Gemini. The North Node, if you're not familiar with, is basically the direction that we're supposed to be going in at any given moment, like as a society. Gemini is a sign that wants to know why. They like to question everything. If you have an emotion, then Gemini would question, why do you have that emotion? Gemini is like a dualistic sign, so if there was an argument or something, they want to hear both sides because they know that it's more than just the one person. There's a bigger picture. They also like to play the devil's advocate, and they get their understanding from like mental energy, from questions, from thoughts, and they take on different perspectives. Or the energy of Gemini North Node is all about being open to different perspectives, being open to why someone is the way they are, why do they see things that way, why do you see things that way, why do you feel the way that you feel, where did that come from? So more of getting into your thoughts and questioning things and taking on different perspectives, and less of being in your feelings and in your emotions and seeing everything as emotions, and less of I feel and more of I think, because I think this way, therefore I feel this way, if that makes any sense for you guys. That's pretty much all I have for you guys. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. Be sure to leave a comment down below letting me know what you guys think about this video. I'll have some information in the description box, and go ahead and subscribe to this channel if you want to see more content like this. I do believe in the future I'm going to be creating more content that breaks things down, breaks down the definition of things, or gives you a different perspective on something, or gives you a broader perspective, or a perspective that's not as common as, or an uncommon perspective, I'll just say that. So anyway, thank you guys for watching the video if you watched this far, and until next time guys, bye.